If you're not exhausted by New Year's Eve stories yet, here's one that still returns to me every December. Beginning like any ordinary celebration with me, my wife, her sister, with her husband and kids, and my mother-in-law gathered in the old country house that now belonged entirely to her, since my father-in-law had been gone for years. We got there early on the 31st. The yard silent except for the snow crunching beneath our boots, and inside the blend of pine, cinnamon, and the steady crackle of the fire created a warmth that should have felt typical, yet the air carried a strange tension, as though the house remembered something none of us could. My mother-in-law, 49 and vibrant, had a quiet confidence that attracted attention effortlessly. Not flashy or dramatic, but a gentle, magnetic grace that only seemed to grow stronger with age instead of fading. The night moved forward with laughter, old songs, and the usual clatter of dishes. But my thoughts drifted toward her every so often, not out of desire, but curiosity, because there was something in her composure, an unspoken solitude, that hinted at a story she kept locked away. Later, while my wife and her sister finished setting the table, she called from the back room saying the sauna chimney had clogged again and asked if anyone was willing to check it before midnight. So my brother-in-law and I agreed. She passed us an old key and guided us out into the biting wind, sweeping through the birch trees as we crossed the yard to the small wooden building behind the house, where the darkness inside seemed to swallow everything. The only illumination came from our flashlights glancing off dust-covered shelves as she told us to wait while she searched through the boxes, promising to find the cleaning brush. And a moment later she let out a soft laugh, saying this place hadn't changed in decades and that every time she stepped down here it felt as though the house was hiding something. She was right, because the basement held that heavy stillness that makes you strain for sounds that aren't there. Then an old floorboard shifted beneath her heel and she stumbled. And I caught her arm without thinking, and for a moment we both stood still. Not embarrassed but startled by the strange quiet that followed, until she thanked me gently and joked that the house must be testing our reflexes. To ease the atmosphere, my brother-in-law suggested playing riddles while we worked. And the laughter that followed bounced off the stone walls in a way that sounded like someone unseen was laughing alongside us. And when the light finally flickered on, the three of us shared uneasy smiles before finishing the task and heading back inside. The warmth of the house wrapped around us again, and soon we were all at the table, as if nothing unusual had happened, though that brief slip, that tiny moment of uncertainty, still clung to the back of my mind as midnight arrived and we lifted our glasses, counting down until fireworks exploded over the frozen sky, splashing the snow with colors that disappeared almost as soon as they bloomed. My mother-in-law stood by the window with the bursts of light reflecting across her face, and when our eyes met she gave a soft smile. Not a gesture of invitation but one of quiet recognition, as though we now shared a secret that had never been spoken. Later, after everyone had gone to sleep, I remained by the fading fire with only the steady ticking of the clock breaking the silence that returned to the house once more. I thought about how delicate a single moment can be, how easily a glance, a misstep, or a simple misunderstanding can blur the boundaries between comfort and temptation, between curiosity and guilt. And though by morning everything appeared normal again, with the children laughing, the strong smell of coffee filling the air, and life slipping back into motion, her quiet remark about how older women always seem to carry a certain charm lingered in my mind. Before I could answer her, footsteps echoed on the stairs and my brother-in-law reappeared with a flashlight cutting through the dimness, the sudden beam snapping us out of whatever strange hush had settled around us, and we returned to our task, lighting a candle and brushing out the chimney until the sauna crackled back to life with warmth. The steady rhythm of work grounding me and pulling my thoughts away from the moment. Soon my wife called from the house, her cheerful voice slicing through the cold with a simple reminder that dinner was ready and we'd done enough for the night. And with a shared laugh at ourselves, we headed inside. The air was thick with the scent of roasted meat and pine. Everyone gathered around the table again, talking, pouring drinks, celebrating, while my mother-in-law sat at the head with her poised smile, calm and composed, her earlier light teasing smoothed away beneath a polished, dignified expression. I poured 2 small glasses for my wife and me, and she clinked hers softly against mine, the warmth settling my nerves even as my thoughts drifted across the table to where my mother-in-law was laughing with the children, graceful and bright, as though nothing unusual had passed in that cold, shadowed basement. Midnight arrived and faded in a burst of laughter and fireworks outside. And by 3 in the morning the entire house had finally grown quiet. The candles had burned low. The children were asleep, and the only sound left in the house was the wind, pressing against the windows as I paused in the doorway of the living room, watching my mother-in-law rise from her chair. Her reflection in the glass, appearing almost spectral in the dimming light, until she met my gaze for the briefest moment, and offered a soft, knowing smile before turning away and slipping down the hallway without a single word.